For centuries, we've called it the Great Wall of China. But what if I told you that's not really accurate? What if I told you it's not one wall at all? We're about to unpack the incredible story of one of history's most misunderstood marvels. Okay, let's just tackle the biggest myth right out of the gate. Most of us, when we think of the Great Wall, we picture this one, single, unbroken line snaking across all of China. But the reality? Oh, it's so much more complex and honestly, way more incredible than that.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll deconstruct that whole single wall myth. Then, we'll dig into its really humble beginnings, see how it got the massive upgrade that made it so famous, understand its deep symbolic meaning, and finally, take a look at the challenges it faces today. All right, first up, if it's not one continuous wall, then what on earth is it? Let's get to the truth behind the myth. Just try to wrap your head around this number for a second. Over 13,000 miles. That is absolutely massive. It's like stretching a wall from New York all the way to Sydney, and then some. A scale that big makes it pretty obvious this couldn't have been a single project. It had to be this monumental patchwork, stitched together across centuries. And that is the key takeaway right here. The Great Wall isn't a wall. It's a dynamic, complex defensive system. It so cleverly weaves together man-made fortifications with natural barriers like mountains and rivers. It's all linked together over time by different rulers for totally different reasons. So, how did this immense system even come to be? Let's rewind the clock. We're going to travel way back to its very first foundations, long before the iconic stone structure we all recognize today even existed. The wall's story unfolds over more than 2 millennia. And as you can see, it basically happened in 3 distinct waves. It started as just a collection of separate walls, then it was unified into a single concept for the first time, and finally, it was perfected during the legendary Ming Dynasty. What's really fascinating about these early walls is who they were built to keep out. You'd think northern invaders, right? Nope, it was other Chinese kingdoms. This was a time of intense civil war, so states used simple, local materials like packed earth and wood to build defenses against their rivals. But when Emperor Qin Shi Huang first unified these separate sections, the human cost was just staggering. It took the forced labor of hundreds of thousands of soldiers, prisoners, and ordinary citizens, all working under the most brutal conditions. It was a project built on an epic scale, for sure, but also on a foundation of incredible human sacrifice. Okay, let's fast forward to the Ming Dynasty. This is where the Great Wall gets its ultimate upgrade and transforms into the breathtaking wonder we see in all the photographs, a true fortress, engineered with stone and brick. I mean, this comparison really shows you the massive leap in technology. The Ming Dynasty didn't just rebuild the wall, they completely reimagined it. They swapped out that packed earth for durable stone and brick, and added all these sophisticated watchtowers. The wall was no longer just a barrier. It became a fully integrated military system. And this system it was truly ingenious. The Minghua was an advanced communication network. By using smoke during the day and fire at night, soldiers in these beacon towers could send messages about enemy movements across huge distances with incredible speed. It was basically the internet of its day, just built from stone and fire. But the wall's importance goes so much deeper than its military function. Over time, it was forged into something way more powerful than stone, a symbol that's embedded deep in the cultural consciousness of an entire nation. It really came to embody the spirit of the Chinese people, resilience against invasion, endurance through hardship, and just the sheer human perseverance it takes to create something on this mind-boggling scale. It's a physical manifestation of a nation's will to define and defend itself. And that's its ultimate power, isn't it? This physical barrier became a unifying idea. The wall helped forge a sense of shared history and destiny, transforming from just a line on a map into a central emblem of national identity that still resonates today. So after all those millennia of conflict and construction, what does the Great Wall mean in the 21st century? Well, its function has shifted dramatically, from a military fortress to a global cultural touchstone. Today, the wall is kind of living this triple life. As you can see, its biggest role by far is as a global tourism hub. But all that popularity creates its second major role, a massive preservation challenge. And underneath it all, it remains this powerful cultural icon for China, and really for the whole world.
Every single year, millions of people flock to these beautifully restored sections near Beijing. And this global spotlight is vital. The tourism it generates helps pay for crucial preservation work. But it's a double-edged sword, because that same popularity puts immense pressure on these ancient stones. And that's the great challenge. While some sections are really well maintained, vast stretches of the wall in remote areas are just crumbling away. They're being worn down by centuries of wind and rain, and now they're threatened by modern development. Protecting this legacy is a constant battle against time itself. And this leaves us with a final thought, a really big question. The Great Wall was a monumental undertaking to build, but preserving this sprawling, ancient wonder for future generations, well, that might just prove to be an equally monumental task.